But
Hello, and welcome to Rootworkers Round the Table. I am here with Joanne Brzezinski.
yeah,
Very good. Oh, I was afraid that I would lose Polish points if I could not pronounce it, just because my my last name is Polish. How have you been?
um, busy. Getting my daughter off to college has been an experience for me. She's been with me since she was a baby, so we it was a harder transition for me, I think, than her. She's doing really good, and I really learned about my Demeter archetype.
I'm gonna let you know when my mom dropped me off at school back in the way back. It's true. I think of it as yesterday, but no, it's been good 20 years.
Yeah.
And as soon as she dropped me off, she almost had like a breakdown, and she was like, "I have to drive back." And luckily, she had uh, one of our family friends, Irene Campos, who just passed away.
Oh,
Uh,
I'm sorry.
and she convinced my mom, "Keep driving. You'll see him tomorrow." But she would. It's me and my sister, and she was convinced that my sister was going to move away and never come back and all that stuff. So she did all this stuff: pumpkin picking, apple picking, Thanksgiving in the Watchung, and it was a very nice one for me. But then my sister went to Kane, which was just a town over,
Yeah.
and I went to Kentucky.
Oh, wow. So you
And,
went, I don't know if I could handle Kentucky. Thank God she's only 2 hours away. And I'm thinking to myself, she almost went to a school that was about 8 hours away. And I was like, oh my God, thank God. 2 hours is far enough that she gets her freedom, but I can still get to her.
uh-huh.
But yet to me, it was like, she was Persephone going into the underworld. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna see her, it was yeah, and I mean, I'm happy for her. I'm proud. She's worked hard for this. Um, she has Asperger's, so she had to work doubly hard to get to where she's at. And I'm so phenomenally proud, but I was still sad and kind of angry, I'm like, she's leaving me, like I felt like someone else was like leaving my life. Um, it was a little bit of an adjustment. I miss her laughing at night, hearing her in the house. Just her presence, things we used to do together.
What do you, is there going to be a way that you can start coping with that?
Um, Pretty much I've been occupying my time with I signed on for I'm helping star with WITCHFEST 2023. We're working on that.
WITCHFEST 2022.
And I know. So we're working on 2023 already.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been doing that. I'm also doing things like this outside of the box, like doing these podcasts. I just did one with Hercules, Invictus. I'm doing this one with you. I'm branching out.
Well, I think it's a great thing, and honestly, I really think Witches Fest is a good thing.
Yeah.
I really love that it's not only a pagan event, but it's also a food drive.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was, especially for places like New York City.
Yeah.
I feel that there's more I would like to do.
Yeah.
Like I wish that it became more of a food garden. Like I know, I don't know, like if you're gonna plant trees, why don't you plant things like apple trees? Now I know it'll be a mess, but come on, New York City, they have the street sweepers.
Yep.
Which as a little kid, I always thought I was gonna get eaten up by.
My cat hates them. The thing goes by and my cat goes right to the window and is like, He wants to attack it. Does not like the street sweeper or the little thing that goes down the sidewalk when it snows. Hates that thing too. But yeah, no, it is a good way to give back to the community. But I also like how it shows the diversity within the community, that everybody has a stereotypical view of what a witch is. We're on a broom, we're green, we're eating babies and killing cats and all this weird stuff. And I think things like Witches Fest is a great way to show that we're just everyday people. We're no different than anybody else. And it brings out the diversity of the population. It's not just Halloween and weird things.
Well, here's my question now. I've been having a problem with witches' outfits and the way witches are shown, like the green face and some of us still wear a hat. Sondheim was wrong. Does anybody wear a hat? Yes. Some people wear say so hats. But
I have a witch's hat. I do. I don't wear it all the time, but
But I'm like, we're not scary. We don't eat babies. Now, I think we're funny. We're fun to party with.
And it's interesting too. You brought up the green face. The green face was actually brought about because the witches were beaten so bad. It was the bruising. When the end of a bruise comes along, your skin gets that bluish green tint. And that's what they were so tortured and beaten when they were presented in front of people. They had that greenish tint from all the bruising. That's why a lot of people get offended with the green-faced witch.
I get offended because it's like, first of all, I don't think, to me, it feels almost like a parody of a religion. And, I think that a Christian
It's a stereotype.
Yeah. And we're getting to the point now in especially American society that stereotypes are not a thing anymore. They need to be put out the door.
And you're absolutely right. I think if anything nowadays, we need to be more aware. And I hate using that word. You hear the word mindful so many times. And I hate overusing a word and beating it to death like that. But if you think about it, what mindfulness really means is be educated, learn about what you're talking about before you open your mouth. And make an assumption. People assume we all dress like Lori Cabot and all these wonderful people and, Salem and, we're all dressed in black, and which we do. I mean, I wear black a lot. I'm not going to lie. But again, that's just one aspect of what witchcraft is. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Or even your tradition. You know what I mean? It's just one aspect of what people see. They don't see the person underneath. The doctors, the lawyers, the people that do everyday, things that we do.
Oh, yeah. But I think there's also a little bit of stratigraphy when it comes to economics and paganism. I have rarely seen an upper financial person hang out with some of the poor country people. In fact, I've gone to a few meetups where the poor are outside and the more wealthy are in the coffee house.
Mm-hmm.
And that sort of bothers me too. I think that I'm a big community person because I think that that's one of the things that we really need to focus on, especially as the economy is very unstable right now. Getting together and just finding out where everybody is around you and maybe doing a food co-op or, maybe something where trees are planted, just something where you always have money and food,
Well, I know like I know Lori Cabot's temple does a lot of wonderful things for the community. Her
Mhm.
temple is very interactive. I know Lorelei, she does things for domestic violence. Animal rescue is one of her big passions. There is a lot of things that they do for the community, and that witches do, you know, all of us. It's not all just, you know, Salem is one aspect of what it is, you know, but it goes beyond that. You know, there's witches in New York, which is what WITCHFEST is trying to highlight in 2023 is, you know, what New York has to bring to the table as far as the history of witchcraft and, you know, and occult and all that. You know, there's a base there as well.
Mhm.
So it's really a good thing. And I think, you know, women like Lori Cabot really pioneered the movement. I mean, where would we be
True.
without her bringing it to the forefront? You know, that was the first book I ever picked up, was The Power of the Witch by Lori Cabot. And you know, because back in the day, we didn't have all these things to learn from. If you wanted to practice anything, you had to go out and either find people. For me, I went to Salem and I sought out these people. I got books, I did research. You know, I think everybody had that Buckland's Blue Book of, you know, witchcraft. I think that
The
was
big
everybody's like,
blue, yeah.
you know, I mean, we've all had those things. And Scott Cunningham's Encyclopedia of Herbs, which is very good, by the way. And
My first book was Earth, Air, Wind, and no, Earth, Wind, Fire, Water by Scott Cunningham.
you know, they paved the way. And you know, Lori does a lot of meditations for the greater good of the world and the community. She does her crystal wheel meditation. There's a lot of things that you know, different, you know, traditions do. And Stars Temple, you know, the Wiccan Temple of New York, she's very much into her community and what goes on there, you know.
But I'm gonna tell you, like, I love networking too. I love meeting people from across the way.
Mhm.
And like, if I go up to New York, I would stop and say, would you like to get a cup of coffee? Would you like to go out to eat dinner? You
Mhm.
know, just so we still keep in contact, keep the dialogue going,
Mhm.
you know.
And that's what all these types of events do, is they shine a light and they show an aspect, and it educates people, you know.
Mhm.
um how can you say what I do if you don't even know what it is?
True. You
You
know,
know.
and do not, well, I'm gonna tell you the one thing that annoys me more than anything, witch wars. You know,
uh
don't there is power enough for everybody. You don't need to be grand high poobah, you know,
and
there's
it's
room
wherever you
for us
go,
all.
you know. Christian Day goes through it in Salem. You know, Star goes through it, you know. Everybody goes through it. Everybody's got that like competitive edge, instead of working together and what you can learn off of each other, you know.
True. Um, we have it here as well. People going against Denise, or people going against uh, Byron Ballard. Everybody want When you're at the top, everybody wants to swing at you. You're
Hmm.
gotta.
Doesn't matter what you do, you know what I mean. And it's you know, Lori, all these people have been put into the fire, you know, by the public, by critics, by their own respective, you know, who should be their allies, community, you know what I mean. um and that's kind of sad, you know.
But I'm gonna tell you, that's another thing that I think that the writers and the educators are should see themselves on the same level with community leaders, or not be community leaders themselves.
Hmm.
You know, put your faith to work. Don't just put it on a shelf, put it to work.
Yep. And that's what a lot of these people, that's what people like Star and Lori and Christian do. They get involved with the community politics and all that, and they make those connections, and they try to bring these things to light and have these events so people can know, whether it be a tarot, what is it, I think it's Salem a few weeks ago, they had something to do with Witches Night Tarot or something, or Night of the Witches, different events that they do
Is that
to
what we're
highlight.
having? Isn't that what we're having right now? Night of the Witches.
This is late night with the witches.
Late night with the witches.
Late night with the witches. Yep.
It to me, community is going to become more important. And I see this with things falling into place back in my area. After a little bit, things started to fall apart, but now they're coming back together. They're resealing. I think, right. Byron Ballard brought up the idea of we're in the time of towers, that everything's falling down. But I think some people, if they look hard enough, they can see the star. They can see how they can make this livable, how you can still put faith in it.
Well, like anything else, I know when I first started practicing, I thought it was going to be this great prophetic thing. And what happens when you start practicing, whether it's witchcraft, root work, you work on your inner self, right? Oh, yeah. And my mentor, Mark Lyons, put it best. He told me that you got to compare, because I was like, wow, I thought witchcraft was supposed to help me. He's like, well, witchcraft isn't for the weak. Are you going to cry, or are you going to pull up your britches and stand up and face what you got to face? He's like, it's a lot like a rain gutter. When you start flushing a rain gutter with water to clear it out, what comes out first before you get clear water? All the shit, right? So you got to get rid of all that layer of poop and grunge and whatever.
Hey, snakes, birds nests.
Yeah, whatever could be in there. You know what I mean? It could be any number of things. Blockages, whatever. You got to clear all that stuff out to open up that energy channel with divinity, whatever you choose to call it, whether it be God, goddess, God, creator, great spirit. You know what I mean? You need to open up that channel of energy. And how do you do that? By doing shadow work and inner work,
I just had, when you were talking about the gutter, I just had a little.
Your head went to the gutter? No.
No, well, theoretically. But when I was living in Hazel, Kentucky, I must have upset a few people, and people started throwing like fetishes at my yard. Like little dolls, or somebody was even brazen enough to take hot sauce and fill it in a pepper and nail it to my door.
What?
Oh, those little witches, they can be so crazy sometimes.
That's kind of like bullying, though. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
the worst was we got, when we lived in the apartments in Glasgow, we had an incident where a kid came over and nailed a snake to our door.
An actual stake?
Well, it was dead. It was dead at that point.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. I went over and talked to his father, because I came to the point, that's a little kid. I'm an adult. I'm going to go talk to his father.
Yeah.
but they hear that there's a witch around, and all they think of is that evil thing.
Oh yeah, I know. Somebody did a video up here when they found out I was a little eclectic and was like, oh, the witches of Berlin are coming for my family. And I'm like, dude, I don't have time. I don't have time, the energy, or the money to spare for the stuff to do, even do the working right now. So, no, I'm not coming for your family. I'm not so stupid.
There is a preacher in in Middle Tennessee. There is a preacher in Middle Tennessee, and he has been really crazy about Greg Locke. His name is Greg Locke. He's from Middle Tennessee, and he gave me something that I could put on my resume. You will never believe it, because he did a service out near Cauldron Fest, okay, in Lower Tennessee, and all of a sudden, like, they invaded. But before that, he said to the newspaper that there were going to be renowned witches there from around the world. I am now a renowned witch from around the world.
Hey, cool.
So I'm like, he said it.
I'm just Joanne. That's what I do. Everybody's like, how do you want to be announced? I'm like, I'm just Joanne. I don't know. I'm just me.
I like that. What's your witch name? Joanne.
Yeah, I mean, everybody says like, what's your way? You're not undercover. I'm like, no. Although now, if you go to Michael Carell's platform, I'm the Groovy Witch, because it wouldn't take my name, and then it took my username and put it as my screen name. So it reversed them. So instead of having like Jay Gajewski or whatever it was, it has Groovy Witch, and then I'm like, oh, whatever. So I had to put a picture up and be like, it's me, Joanne. For some reason, it changed my identity.
When I worked for Witches Fest, I referred to Joanne as my handler. She was my handler. She was the one who made sure I got where I needed to be. So to
Yeah,
me,
that was something else with that.
the handler.
I did, like, no lie, like 2 days of just nonstop back to back, moderating. And we're trying to find ways to change it up and make it better. Because we found in situations like mine and yours, where if you keep the same person, the same moderator with the same presenter, it works out better.
That's what I think too. And honestly, I think that they should. To me, I found it great to talk to you ahead of time and talk to you after time. Just making a new friend, and that's what I did.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we're talking about making a little bit of a training mandatory, because it was too last minute last time, and trying to train, because it was Zoom events. And of course, everybody knows this Zoom platform that we have here, but Zoom events is different. How we had to enter it different. It's not, you don't go in the same way. But I'm a Zoom expert. And I mean, that's all I kept hearing. And I'm like, and even on the day of there was people calling, I can't get in. Where's the link? I'm like, there's no link. You're going to event Zoom. It's not like a regular Zoom meeting.
I truly appreciated it, and was totally like, when it had to come, I was great at it. I could get on. Now still I have problems.
And we had issues in the beginning because your video wasn't working at first, remember?
I know, it was crazy. But I'm going to tell you, wherever I go, I have that problem. Do you know where I think I work best? I think that because a lot of times they put me early. I'm not an early guy.
Yeah.
Sort of.
I'm not an early girl either, but those 10:30 ones were rough.
I like to sit on something and get comfortable, maybe have a little bit of sandwich, you know.
Well, that's too, if anybody has suggestions out there on how we can improve the Witches Fest experience, we're open to hear it. I'm thinking witches are very much nocturnal people. I think starting later in the day and eliminating some of the morning times, you know, would be better. Adding a little bit more live interactive events, you know, like a ghost tour or something like that, you know, something to get people interested.
I'm
We're
gonna
trying to change it up a little.
I suggested to Nikki Kirby and Saul, I suggested to them because they did Manifestasia.
Mhm.
Why don't you you know how all these cons have meet and greets? Why don't you have meet and greets where you have an open place where people can talk
Mhm.
and you have people sitting there, and if people want to ask questions or something.
See, that would be where a regular Zoom link would be great, where you have an open forum. You
Mhm.
know, I believe they had those at WitchCon. Yeah, that's the one that's online, where after the classes, there was different like Zoom rooms you could join and have open discussion and meet your presenters face to face and all that.
Now, I'm trademarking it here. I have had an idea that I wanted to do called the Academy,
Mhm.
and that is where small group of people, maybe 5 or 6 of the speakers get together, have coffee, maybe drinks, you know, and just ask questions
Mhm.
like, what is your favorite tool to use? You know, like, do you have a favorite tool, Joanne?
Yes, I personally love this crystal sphere that my daughter gave me. It's a 100 millimeter
Mhm.
pure crystal, like real crystal ball. It's
Uh-huh.
beautiful. That's one of my favorite pieces. That, and I have one that's also smoky quartz. So those are my two favorite pieces. I like to just kind of hold them and look at them and gaze into them.
One of my favorite is my water dipper.
Your water dipper?
My water dipper. It is a gourd
Oh,
that has been hollowed out,
uh-huh.
and it's actually a water dipper gourd.
Oh, wow.
And so that is one of the tools I use for
And
water.
and the water doesn't affect the gourd part of it at all? Like it doesn't make
No,
it like slimy or anything? Like, no?
no, because you just dry it out again.
Oh, wow.
You know, when you are growing gourds,
Uh-huh.
the best way to grow them is leave them through the winter
Really?
because they'll harden up to where you can work with
Leave
them.
them on the plant or leave them
Leave them,
out?
leave them on the ground. On the
Really?
Yep.
Up here, they'd be buried in like 10 feet of snow.
Oh, that's okay.
It is?
Yeah, because like we have snow as well.
It won't rot?
Some will, but some will not. And the ones
Oh,
that we did a bunch of birdhouse gourds. Now we have birdhouses out of our wazoo. You know,
come on.
it's
Time to sell the birdhouses.
actually. Do you know what I am going to tell you? I have an aloe plant in the back that is like Audrey too. It's like feed me. It's huge. But then we had to move it to a new place. We had to put it in a new pot because it was so big no pot could hold it. And it was leaning, and the only way I could keep it upright was I was putting my crystals in the back end just so it'll stay up. So I replanted it in this huge pot, and now there is about 25 babies from it, and I'm gonna bring them up to a, a store in Louisville and just be like, take these. These are now yours. These are now your little children.
I would love it. I wish I could have, I am like the Grim Reaper of plants. Root working would not work for me because I kill everything I touch.
Oh, really?
I, my daughter, I, I decided to try a garden and I started with a little pallet garden. I filled it up. I planted my stuff. Everything was growing great. Come harvest time, I had everybody's posting their pictures of these huge tomatoes and bean. I had like micro vegetables that were like this big.
Micro vegetables.
Everybody's, I'm like, yep, here's my harvest of 3 beans that are like this big, and I'm like, where did I go wrong here? Everything started off great. I don't know. I'm a person like with stuff like that. I need somebody to come out and actually show me. Like one year, this guy actually showed me how to grow tomatoes. And he used to own an organic worm farm, and he would give me organic worm poop, which he said was the best thing for
Organic
tomatoes.
organic worm poop is just called dirt.
Yeah, well, whatever. He was like, he would give me this stuff, and the tomatoes were phenomenal. That was the best tomatoes I've ever, one and only time, and the best. I can't recreate the experience. My tomatoes were like this big last year, and I think it was like 3 of them.
I'm gonna like, first of all, our topsoil, not topsoil, but garden soil has basically been wood chip and mulch. It's horrible
Yeah.
here. But I did a junk garden this year, and like things that we were going to get rid of and throw away, I'm like, oh, I'm just going to throw it up here, and that's how it grew 4 tomato plants from one slice that went bad of tomatoes. Because if you want the same tomatoes next year, just let a few fall on the ground and rot.
Oh, wow. That's weird because Amanda and I were walking outside last year and there was a random like zucchini or squash plant like growing in this area of just like weeds in our driveway. And I'm like, look, it was like a squash plant. Bigger than the squash that I intended to. It was taken such great care of. I had these like micro squashes. Everybody's growing these huge things.
Oh, I'm gonna. Do you want to see insult to injury? I love a good baba ganoush,
Oh, yes.
and I love a good eggplant parm. So
Oh,
I
yes.
decided I was going to grow eggplant this year.
Oh, no.
Oh no, you were absolutely correct. It is one of the saddest things known to man. And if somebody knows what I did wrong, please feel free to tell me.
Oh my God, you got a micro eggplant.
I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it.
I got people here coming out with eggplant like this. And here I am with the little things like I'm like, yes, this is my harvest. I'm like, come on, seriously?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I'm still gonna eat it.
I did. I ate mine, but still, like how embarrassing. I'm like, oh wow.
I grow really great turnips. I do them really well. I do beets really well. Zucchini I do really well. Eggplant not so much.
Oh my God, it's so funny. My dog was out digging where the pallet garden was. She was, scuffing around. And what did she pull up? There was carrots that were growing from the last time that I had planted. I guess they replant. I don't know, but there was carrots.
I'm going to tell you, the best way that I have ever grew carrots was in cinder blocks.
Cinder blocks?
Cinder blocks. I filled the holes with dirt and planted them, and up they came. Now I put them in a garden bed. What happened to it? God only knows. Like, nothing grew. Now, I got to tell you, one of the things that my mom did. I thought it was very smart. She doesn't grow vegetables. She doesn't understand why her kids both do. Um, but she plants flowers.
I can't do those either.
Either. That's why I go for herbs. And
Oh,
they're
I kill those as well.
I kill those as well. You should try borage or nasturtium. To me,
I'm
those
thinking maybe cactus. Like, how can I kill a cactus? I don't know at this point.
I'm pretty good at killing cacti.
Are you really?
Everything except aloe.
God.
My grandmother got me cacti, or cactuses. I don't know.
And it sucks because I come from a family of gardeners. Italians, you know, gardens. I ate from the garden my whole life.
And now it's all micro fruit.
And I can barely grow basil, you know what I mean?
We have two different types, actually 3 different types of basil growing right now. And I'm going to tell you something. I did some root work on myself recently.
Oh,
I had a sty on my eye.
a sty in my eye.
Do you know what a sty is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They're painful, is what they are.
Well, so my housemates were like, I don't know what he's talking about. Like my grandmother got him a lot.
Yeah.
Get him a lot. And what I learned to do was you take gold. This is my gold sty ring, to be honest.
Really?
And you heat it up on your pants by moving it back and forth, and then you place it on it. I did it a couple times, went away.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I've always just done a warm compress with boric acid.
See, I'm going to tell you, nobody else believes this except me. When
I'll try it next time. I love the holistic ways of trying to do things without. I'm very anti-pharma if I can help it.
I can't. They have just put me on crazy medicine.
Oh no.
Well, I need it.
Yeah.
It helps me get closer to transplanting. And basically what it is they are going to, it's a strong end. I have latent tuberculosis.
Ooh.
So at one time in my life, I was exposed to active TB.
Really?
But my body has suppressed it.
What the hell?
My immune system suppressed it. So it's in there, but it's latent. It's not active.
Yeah.
But when they kill your immune system, then it comes up again.
Oh my God. Really?
Yeah, so they are like,
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say when they kill your immune system, they kill the tuberculosis,
no, that's why they're putting me on a strong antibiotic. And
Wow.
they were like, well, if you have an allergic reaction, the normal allergic reaction is a skin rash. And I was like, oh, skin rash, that's not too bad. And she's like, no, it means your whole skin will be covered in blisters.
Yeah. I am allergic to every antibiotic under the sun, except for 3 things: Levaquin, Cipro, and Ceftin. And a lot of things can be near-death experiences for me that are not for other people, because I'm allergic to so many things. And I have to be on death's door before they'll even prescribe me medicine for like an upper respiratory infection, because out of the 3 things, they don't want me to build a tolerance. Do you know what I mean? Because then if I have something that I really do need it for, it's not going to work.
To me, that means, to me, that would mean maybe try some more holistic medicines.
Oh yeah, I use black seed oil.
Mm-hmm.
I take that stuff kills even MRSA. I take good doses of that. During the pandemic, I got lazy and didn't reorder. And that's when I got COVID, was when I hadn't taken it for like a month because I was trying to save money. And I ended up getting like really sick. I had I thought I was going to die. I seriously met the Grim Reaper. He touched my hand. I mean, it was bad. I had like every symptom plus. And then like I went to the bathroom and I go to brush my teeth and I open my mouth. And you know, when you have a cold, you get a coated tongue and all that gross stuff. I opened my mouth and my tongue was as white as this paper
Oh my.
with maybe a couple of pink dots. I freaked. There was no, it was the whole tongue. So I call my doctor, you know, and of course he's doing, you know, over the phone like this. And I show him and he's like, oh, wow. I'm like, what do you mean? Oh, wow. He's like, it's a symptom of COVID. It's called COVID tongue. It's very rare, but that's what it is. And it freaked me out. And it did. It went when the COVID went away, it went away.
Did you try any salt, like washes and stuff like that?
Yep, that's what he had me do. I did salt, I did water, I did lemon. I upped my vitamin B intake. Yeah.
See, that's what they're upping my vitamin B6 intake. So I find that them also using natural methods again, I find to be very hopeful and interesting.
Yeah, I'm only on 2 things, Motrin and a nasal spray. You know, that's about, and that's to prevent you know, to try and prevent me from getting a respiratory infection.
You have
We work more
Flonase.
on prevention.
Is it Flonase?
No, it's Astapro. And
I am totally afraid of Flonase
really, why?
because I was on it for a long time
Yeah.
and I was not using it correctly. Because you're supposed to put it up and turn it a little bit,
Uh-huh.
squirt it into your sinuses. I was
Yeah.
just putting it in the edge of my nose and squirting it, and it gave me a dry nose, which gave me a nosebleed that was so bad.
Oh,
I had to go to the not emergency room. What is it called? Urgent care.
yeah.
And they gave me a rhino rocket.
I don't know what that is, but it doesn't sound good.
It has a little projectile.
Oh my God.
And they go up to your nose and they shoot it in.
Jesus.
Wait, you want a dog to Jesus? They then inflate it.
Stop.
They do. They inflate it with the syringe.
And so what? The blood stays in your head? That's much better.
It closes everything off. Now, I did have I talked to an ENT, and he was like, "You should have just come into the ER. They would have just put a little bit of cocaine in your nose."
What?
Yeah, cocaine actually closes the blood vessels. It
Why
minimizes
didn't they
them.
just cauterize it?
Well, that's how they cauterize nosebleeds. It's not enough to get you high, but they cauterize you with cocaine.
I've never heard of that. My
Yeah.
doctor, I'm lucky I can get an Advil. I could be sitting there with a severed leg and they're like, here, have a Tylenol.
That was
I'm
one.
like,
I went to go see one of my old doctors yesterday for a checkup. And that's something I wanted, because he was asking me, why did you come back to me? And I said, well, your lines are very clean. You're a very clean surgeon. And then what I was going to say, you weren't very good when it came on pain management, but, you know, you were good when it came to the surgery itself. So that was one of the things that I was like, you know, I don't understand why everybody thinks you're going to become a junkie. You know,
if you're in pain, no. You know, if you're taking it recreationally, probably. But, you know, like if you're in pain and you need it, like I'm not getting high off of it. It's killing the pain, you know. I don't know. I'm not a pill person though. I've never done pills, injections, anything like that. I've always, I don't know. It's not my thing.
I did injections.
Well,
I
you kind
did.
of have to, don't you? Because of diabetes.
Yeah.
Insulin, hello.
No,
I don't know
not
if I'd be able
insulin.
to, I'd lose it if I had to do that every
I'm
day.
not diabetic.
No,
No, I am non-diabetic. I am I am a I lost my kidneys due to a birth disease
Oh,
called IgA nephropathy.
ooh,
And it has been, I've been on dialysis 21 years.
wow.
The shots I used to give myself were testosterone
Ooh,
because your hormones are sucked out through the machine
oh my God.
because they're water soluble.
Yeah.
So that is, and if anybody wants to donate a kidney, I could get you in touch with the people who will help you get tested for me, or if you'll be tested for anybody. I'm trying to put that out there in the world.
I don't blame you. I would put it out on every avenue.
You
I
know,
don't think I can help you because I have a cyst in one of my kidneys that I've had since I was born.
I'm gonna tell you,
I have issues with my own kidneys.
yeah, if they have anybody, if there is anything wrong with your kidneys or any chance that they would go bad, they won't touch you. Yeah,
Yeah.
they will only do it if you are at your optimal health.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm still trying to push to get to a healthier person.
Yeah.
Getting like this other last checkup I had, I didn't have to get it, but I wanted to make sure. The other thing,
Absolutely.
the other thing I want, and not many people say that, I want to get a colonoscopy.
But
I want to. Well, I
not
want.
me. I'm trying to dodge that bullet. I'm like, no, because again, I've heard nightmare stories and all my issues are digestive. All my issues are digestive. Yeah, they're, anything with me is the stomach. And yeah, I just, no, I have IBS and all kinds of
I,
issues. So
I
no.
want to make sure my pooper's okay. That is what I want to do. I want to make sure my lungs are okay. They're all saying it, but I want another doctor to tell me too.
Yeah.
Make me feel better about this. It, because
My next thing to master is the cigarettes. That's what I want to quit next.
I can tell you how I did it.
How'd you do it?
I lost a toe, and I said, I'm not going to, fuck this. I'm getting off of dialysis,
Yeah.
you know? And so I put my mind to the transplant. And the funny, I went to Nashville, and they wouldn't have me. I went to Louisville, and they wouldn't do anything with me. And then I talked to a lady from UK, and she said, try UK and see what they do. And I went to UK, and they did not reject me, but they weren't accepting me yet.
Hmm.
I wasn't starting the program. I had to prove to them that I could lose the weight. And so I lost the weight,
Hmm.
and I still want to lose another 50, to be honest.
Really? Another 50?
Another 50.
You don't look like you're that heavy, but okay.
I'm a big girl. um,
I'm no toothpick over here either, but
what?
I've always been curvy. I'll never be a size 6, but I'd like to get back down to a 12, 14 again,
Mm. See, I'll be honest. I had no problem being, but it's different. I had no problem being an overweight guy. My grandfather was overweight. My father was overweight. And so, like at my grandmother's funeral, they would say to my sister, "Oh, you're so beautiful." And they would say to me, "You look like a Sackwitz."
The heck does that mean?
That means that I look like my grandfather and my father.
Oh, okay. That was your last name. I'm like,
Yeah,
I thought it was like some kind of like thing they were comparing you to.
they were. They were compared to me to my father and grandfather. God bless both of them.
Yeah, so I've always, I'd like to get back down to that, that's where I've always been comfortable and look my best. So, I'm almost there. I dropped a lot. I dropped like a lot of pant sizes after the pandemic, and after my dad passed away.
Mm.
And I don't feel it, but I'm wearing smaller size clothes, but to me, I still look enormous. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh,
You're for me, I have had, even when I was at 230, because that's my smallest adult size. I still thought of myself as a big person.
well, how tall are you?
5'8" and shrinking.
I'm 5 feet. So 5'8", 230, that would be about normal weight,
But that is, but I've only been that once in my adult life. And then I don't know what happened, but somehow I slowly started to put this stuff back on.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it was.
Well, I had a surgery, and then I started doing school full time and stopped waitressing. That always kept me moving and kept me in shape. And then the pandemic hit, and I couldn't work because of that. So yeah, but I'm getting there, and the smoking is the next thing.
It.
I have to lose the weight though, because my feet are swelling. I've done all my work on my legs. I've always been, I never had a sit down job. So, my ankles, arthritis, my knees, then the surgery, things like that. I've always had those issues, and it's like from the waist down, it's like, oh my, I just hurt. You know what I mean? So I really just got to get myself moving again and lose that weight.
You should
Help the numbing in my feet or my feet swelling.
for the numbing
Yeah.
feeling. I would try magnesium and possibly B6. But for achiness, I just started this and it's working real well, because I was getting to the point with chronic pain that I was like, I hate my life, you know? I hate waking up like this every morning.
I'm a hiker. I'm like, I can't like not use my legs. I worked on my legs. I'm like, and I'm like, they just feel stiff from the ankle to like the mid calf, and then they swell up. My feet never swelled up. I'm like, I have a cankle.
How is your water intake?
I have issues with water. Sometimes I'm really good and sometimes I'm really bad. When I was doing Qigong, the swelling in my feet had stopped completely. So I need to start doing that again. And, I need to get my ass here. Qigong, it's a Asian practice of movement and stretching.
Okay.
And they call it mindful movement. And I was doing Tai Chi as well. That was helping. But then I had this issue with my eyes. I had like a vertigo thing going on, and I had to stop. And I noticed the swelling in my feet came back. So I'm like, I got to try and do this again. Star and I used to do Qigong every morning during the pandemic. So we want to try over Zoom. Yeah. So we want to try and do it again.
Who was the leader? Like, did you have multiple people or just you two?
It was me, Star, and one other lady, and we'd watch a YouTube video. She'd share it on her screen, and we'd follow the guy and we'd do it together.
Rock on. Very neat.
I'm the type of person I need motivation, And where I live, there's not really many gyms, and the ones that are here are expensive. We need a Planet Fitness close by is what we need, $10 a month, friggin'.
Well, now my working out has come down to basically the pool.
Yeah.
My
mom does that. She says the pool therapy, she used to do that with her arthritis. She said it helped her tremendously because you don't feel the weight. And a lot of it too with me is hormones right now too, which I know. And I always feel like I'm on fire, And I have autoimmune issues. I can't eat gluten. Like I said, I have issues. More in the autoimmune and hormone and digestive, you know?
Can you eat sweet potatoes?
Hmm.
Sweet potatoes and yams are good
Yeah.
when you're going through hormonal issues.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Oh yeah. Because they help with um they they help with estrogen.
Oh, okay.
Like sometimes when I have men who are dealing with testosterone issues, I recommend them going to like sunflower butter or sunflowers just because sunflowers are good for testosterone.
Oh, okay.
Just little
Um,
things I do. And for the legs or regular aches and pains, take two turmeric to two omega 3, 6, and 9. And to me, it's been great for my back.
hold on, my daughter is saying good night. You gonna try and sleep, honey? I'm on mute. All right, honey, I will talk to you tomorrow. I love you. If you need me, call me. I have the phone right near me. Call me tomorrow. Bye. She just likes to sit and hear the sound of home, I guess.
Mhm.
This is her new, I talk to her more now than when she was at home. She just likes to call and sit there and while I do my stuff. I don't know.
Hey, that's very sweet. You know, she must have had a really good home experience.
Oh, thank you. Um, it makes me think, years ago, we didn't have this technology. I mean, imagine being thrown into a situation like that. She went from a class of 60 kids. Now her class is 500. You know what I mean? She's like, whoa, it's like culture shock, and, and I was thinking, I'm like, how lucky are we to have these tools where I can still talk to her and essentially hear her voice and things like that, even if it's in the background. And, back then they didn't have those. Imagine kids going to school and boom, there you are. And you have to either go to a payphone or, we didn't have all these things.
Oh, I know. Because when I went, the internet was just starting out,
Hmm.
and then your dorm phones could not make a long distance phone call.
No, you had to get calling cards.
Yeah, it was very, very expensive.
So I told her, I said, man, thank goodness you have these tools, because the other day she was coming out of the library and a hornet stung her in the head, and she's never been stung before, so she was freaked out. She's like, I don't know if I'm allergic, I don't know this and that, and she was like all scared. And I'm like, listen, and she called me like right away, and I'm like, listen, I said, first of all, I can't see anything from here. And second of all, you need to calm down and we need to go talk to somebody on campus that can help you out in case you have a reaction, So it's very good that she's able to do that.
You know what the first thing you should always do? Pop a Benadryl.
That's what they did. They gave her Benadryl and 2 Tylenol. And then she's like, I feel funny. I'm like, you just need to lay down and
Yep.
let the Benadryl do its thing.
Mhm.
Don't even try to fight it.
Yeah, don't en- enjoy the sleep.
She's like me though with the ASD. She doesn't, I think she slept like 4 hours and then woke up and called me. She's like, I feel better. Anybody else that would have knocked them out for the whole night.
Yeah,
We're not big sleepers. I sleep maybe 5 hours at a time, you know, and that's just been me, my whole life. I try as I may. Sometimes if I'm really tired or if I've been up a lot or if I'm very stressed, I'll like take a day and like hibernate. but
Mhm.
most of the time I'm awake all this. People are like, do you ever sleep? I'm like, sometimes, usually between 3 and 7. Well, she'd go to school, so between 3 and 7, 8 in the morning, you know, I'd be up.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Although lately I've been discovering the joys of the nap in the afternoon.
I
All of a
love
sudden, I'm just like, oh, I need to take a nap.
I
I have
love
to fight it
I love sleep. Like my mom takes at 3 p.m. My mom goes to bed,
for the night.
and no, from 3 to 4, and then she gets up and has dinner and all the rest of the stuff. Now, if I went to sleep at 3 and I was comfortable and happy and cozy, I won't get back up.
Really?
The
You
only
do?
reason sometimes I have to get up is to take my nighttime meds, and that's when I'm tired. 'Cause it's like 30 pills, so it's like,
Jeez.
and then I take and then I take Metamucil. Here I'm sounding old now. Metamucil, and then I take protein.
I've started taking collagen in my protein shake, my smoothie. So, hey, and that actually helps a lot too. It helps with the joint pain and stuff.
I could say something
But
else.
some days I don't even want to make a smoothie. I'm just like, I don't want to take the time to,
It, I understand. I
like, what am I doing? I'm putting milk in a blender, almond milk, friggin' a scoop of this, a scoop of that, and some frozen fruit. What's the big issue?
well, you know, to me, I also oh, what was her name? She ran for president of the United States.
Hillary?
No, she's a new age woman.
Elizabeth Warren?
No, no, I'm saying like she's sort of a witch.
Oh,
Um,
was she the one from the Green Party?
Williamson, Marianne Williamson,
Yes, yes.
and I everybody thinks she's crazy, but the thing that I realized, she may sound crazy to you guys,
Not
but
to me. I read A Course of Miracles.
well, she's talking to the pagan people when she said that there is a dark energy over the United States. You know, there's a dark energy over the United States. I think like it adds to depression. It adds to because it's the end of summer and people are still having sad. You know, Corona did a major whack to the United States's ego. I think that to me, I think that because we need to move out of the time of towers and try to find.
Personally, I had a better time in 2020 than I did in 2021 or 2022.
I agree.
Um, we were back to the basics of life.
True.
It wasn't all the hustle and bustle. There wasn't all the traffic. If you went to the beach to walk it, there wasn't a gazillion people. I'm lucky I live in an area where if I want a social distance, it's not an issue. But, I live in the mountains. But, I got to see all kinds of places and I did a lot more things, but I did them. I didn't go out to eat. I maybe packed a lunch, you know what I mean, and brought it with me. I don't know. I thought it was just, it was closer to certain family. The one bad aspect, of course, is I lost my dad towards the end of it, but, and I wasn't able to be with him,
Mhm.
but, a lot of good things came out of it. This technology to be able to communicate like this, being able to take classes like this, like WITCHFEST, WitchCon, all these, different
Asia.
platforms. Yep. All these different things, the dark goddess, whatever I think is going on in Colorado right now. all these different things, you know, that we weren't able to do before. Now we can, you know, now if I want to take a class, I can go to your website and see what you're offering, or I can go to
Yeah.
Star and I can look at her page, or I can look at what, you know, Hex Education is offering, or whatever, you know,
Hmm.
the options are limitless, you know?
Which is amazing. It opens up so many new worlds.
Yeah.
You know, it adds so much more education out there.
And it unifies the people. I love it because it's root workers, it's witches, it's occultists, it's you know, herbalists, it's artists, it's
Yeah.
musicians, all together and getting along and raising. Every time I come off of one of these events, my energy level, the vibe is so high,
Oh
because
yeah.
even though you're online and you're thinking I'm on Zoom, you're picking up that good energy off of everybody, because it's uplifting and you're with uplifting people, you know?
And I enjoy I almost feel when I watch it, I almost feel like the person is talking directly to me.
Hmm.
And that because I the second day of Witches Fest, um, I took total advantage of it. I went to different classes.
Yeah, I saw you in there.
Yeah, we were in a class together. Um, and
Ian Ford's.
yeah, and to me, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was
Yeah,
great energy. I
it,
really,
it is. And you get a little, you know, you get a little piece of what everybody's doing. You know, like Hector Salva had his take on root work. You had your take. Ian had his, and
was
it
it
was
Ian
good.
Allen?
Ian Ford.
Okay, Ian Allen is another root worker.
Yep.
But see, with root work, most of the root work is where you're located,
Yeah.
you know. But it to me,
Hoodoo Senmo, we used to say that, the power of place.
mhm,
My friend Jim Sayers says that a lot too. He talks about the power of place. And, you know, and I was like, what do you mean the power of place? He's like, you know, your surroundings, like where you're at, the powers of your place, like the energies of the where you live, the geographical area, the energies of the plants, the roots, you know, the spirits of the river and all that, you know, those all those things.
where
And also, you know, if you're, you know, on the workings level, you know, if you're gonna do something for a court case, go get some dirt from the police station or the courthouse, or you know what I mean, like things like that. I learned a lot about place.
dirt, dirt and waters are very important, believe it or not.
Yes, that's what I've gathered through. I don't know a lot about root work or hoodoo. Sen Moe had started giving me that little bit of a taste of it, and I do know that it does involve roots, dirt, water, plants.
To me, one of the big things with mine also is people. How you're going to deal with the people,
Hmm.
and that to me, I think that is one of the big things about conjure. Period is how do we deal with the people,
Hmm.
or how do we deal with the problem people? You know, even when like hoodoo, voodoo, santeria all had to deal with a certain type of people,
Hmm.
candomblé. So you're each evolve a little bit differently
Hmm.
just to handle the people. So it don't don't a
I don't
human
think I'd be a good root worker. I kill plants. I mean, what am I going to say? What am I going to? I'm like, I don't think they'd like me too much. My plants will be telling me to go away. Go F
and
yourself.
there are more than
Get
people
away from me, killer.
there are more than people who just do herbs. Like I'm thinking about becoming a death doula, you know, helping somebody walk through death.
Yeah, no, I tried. I worked hospice.
Mhm.
I'm too much of an empath. I get too emotional. I can't. I know I'm a psychologist and I can't.
No,
Um,
it it is a heavy amount of energy to deal with.
I deal with heavy energy on the daily. I specialize in trauma and PTSD,
Mhm.
and things like suicide, and I deal with a lot of adolescents and kids from the ages of 14 to 22. I see a lot of heavy duty trauma. I hear about a lot of heavy duty trauma, and it took me a long time to not so much compartmentalize, because I don't like that word, because the Titanic had compartments and they overflowed and sank the ship. For how long before your compartment flows into other areas of your life and sinks your ship? Um, but to get a balance, because my mom's like, aren't you upset about Ian? And I said, yes, I'm upset. I said, but I also understand, with the depth of the problems that he had, the risk factor was very high that this was going to be an outcome. I said, but that doesn't mean that that's going to be you. I said, he was different. He had Asperger's, but he also had heavy mental illness, so
Mhm.
there's a lot of factors under there, that determine it, and she felt guilty. She's like, what if I had done? I said, you had to take your journey. You were going to college. I mean, what do you can't, sadly, this is the outcome for a lot of people that have mental illness, and it for the longest time, I would go home crying, because I knew kids would be home getting abused and have no heat and food. And I don't know, you get a thicker skin, I guess. It still bothers me. Um, you
To-
know,
I'll, I'm gonna tell you a little story. I taught children's theater, and later on, they brought another person brought up that one of the students was getting abused at home.
mhm.
I have no clue which student it was. Okay. But this person didn't think it was wrong that this person was being locked in a basement, um, just locked in a basement for a week.
The stuff,
Yeah.
the stuff I hear, I'll never forget the first time I was sitting with a girl, teenage girl, and I generally, they're like, I don't like talking to counselors, blah blah blah. I'm like, okay. I'm like, so how are things going? When you don't have to tell me anything. How's your day? Well, this and this and this happened, and how do you feel about it? And the next thing you know, all of a sudden, out of the blue, they'll start talking about their trauma.
Mhm.
And she turned and looked at me and she said, when I was 5 years old, my parents would hog tie me to the bed and duct tape my mouth so that they could party and I would be quiet and not get into any trouble. And now, you're looking at this person in the face, and you can't show to them that you're traumatized. Obviously you got to empathize with them and listen and be like, I'm sorry that happened to you, but you got to keep your kind of calm. You know what I mean? But I was freaking horrified. Who does that to a 5-year-old? And I'm looking at I'm thinking of my daughter. I'm a mom. What the heck? Seriously? And and I live in a small community, and here I am. I got to run into this freaking woman in the grocery store now, and I want to freaking choke her. And I talked the girl through the trauma, and she, it's like, I feel so much better having talked about it. And when she left, I went in my room and I cried for like a half hour.
I could totally understand. It.
I could not be a death doula. I'd be like crying all the time. you know.
I was talking to one um, at Cauldron Fest, and she was like, sometimes I go out and there's Norse, because she does pagan, and there's sometimes she'll uh, hand a Norse guy a plastic knife and her a plastic knife, and they will stab at each other until the person passes.
What?
It, well, it helps. It creates their ability to go into Valhalla. if they are dying in battle, you know? So it's sweet, and somebody has to do it.
I don't know. I'd be a little, that would traumatize me. I wouldn't be able to do it. I'd be crying. I'm like, I can't hurt you. No, I wouldn't be able to do it. Yeah.
But that's what helps them. That that to me, I
I'm
think
glad that helps them, but it traumatizes me.
doesn't help me. That was one of the. I grew up in a funeral home.
Did you
I
say in a funeral home?
I grew up in a funeral home.
Seriously?
Yeah,
This doesn't, the stuff of nightmares are made out of that for me. No way. I wouldn't be able to do it.
my. Have you seen My Girl with
Yeah.
Macaulay Culkin? Um, I was like the little girl in that. I could not see any of the death things, you know, like the embalming or anything. Could not.
Did you ever
And
see one?
no. And the reason is being somebody who is a medium and you knew somebody was downstairs because somebody was by your bed, not.
That's what I was gonna say, like the energy in that house, man. How did you even like that's gotta be some heavy stuff, and when you're a kid, like how do you process that, part of you thinks like you're going crazy and part of you is like, what the hell?
Well, I am going to tell you, I was watching a ghost show, like one of those. I lived in this house and there was a ghost there, and this is how I feel.
Yeah.
And one of the people described it as abuse, that because things are happening to him and nobody is listening. And I was like, that is very true. Um, Especially a lot of people don't take it seriously because it's coming out of a child's mouth.
Hmm.
But I think that most pagans should realize that children to children can be a lot more susceptible to things like that,
Hmm.
and especially teenagers, and especially uh, females. For some reason, I was studying trans, and women have a lot easier time connecting with the spirit world, which I thought was very interesting. And so, one thing that I thought that people should do is make little stuffed animals that have symbols on it, or iron or something. Maybe put iron under the bed, because I realized that metal on a doll and children are not the most dexterous. So that could be an accident waiting to happen. But tying seals onto it or doing knot work,
Hmm.
to help prevent it.
Or even sigils.
Yeah, yeah. Or dipping it in some blessed water.
Hmm. I think Asphateta is actually doing a class on sigil work coming up. He sent me a little blurb in my email, and he's pretty good from what I hear.
I think if we were going to put what my thing is, I really like Franken magic. I really like to see if one and one equals two. You know, let's take some olden ideas that were used for banishing and add it to a modern day effect. And how can we use this together? I think the big thing that I am going to teach at festivals that I'm at My thing that I'm going to be teaching this year is energy work,
Hmm.
because one thing that I've noticed at some of the festivals is that people haven't really become in tune with themselves, that somehow there is a disconnect between spirit and self. And I think that through some techniques, different techniques, we can help them to feel more connected with their energy and their spirit self.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know what any of my like online classes are going to be yet, but they're going to be good.
I'm sure they will be. There's a tremendous, any type of knowledge. Knowledge is power. Everybody's like, oh, you're still doing school. I said, well, yeah, I'm almost there. I might as well just get my PhD. Right now, I'm working on I'm getting my master's. Um, which for most normal people, it's a 40 to 60 credit thing. But I added a specialty on it, the trauma and PTSD, so I wouldn't have to pay for it again, which basically made it like another undergrad. I think I have to do like 80 credits. What's 40 more at that point? You know what I mean? So, and then after that, but that'll get me my license, my 3,000 hours, all that. That's what I'm working on. And then I'll, get my PhD in there. And people are like, why are you doing? I said, because I'm doing what I want to do. And knowledge is power, my brain loves it. You got to keep your brain going.
It's a muscle. If you don't keep it going,
And that's what I've been doing since Amanda left. I've been doing like out of the box things like this with you, and Hercules, and things with Star. I'm doing stuff that's normally not in my wheelhouse, because I'm just Joanne living my life here in the mountains. What do I have to say? I haven't written any books. I've just, I've been in a coven here and there. I'm nothing, I'm not on a Lori Cabot level, of infamy or anything like that. But
you could be.
I don't, yeah, I don't think anybody could be Lori Cabot. She's just, wow. I did, I did what does she call it? Going into alpha
Uh,
meditation with her. Let me tell you, just wow. That woman there's very powerful stuff there.
mhm. She's one of the mothers of magic, American magic. Everybody knows who Lori Cabot is. She's sort of
Hmm.
like as Betty White was to the gay people,
Hmm.
Lori Cabot is to the pagans.
Hmm.
And
She went out there back in the times when there wasn't, I mean, picture, she was doing this in the 70s, you know what I mean? When people were adamantly, against
and
this stuff,
oh yeah,
you
oh yeah.
know. She's a pioneer. I don't know if I'd have that kind of guts, you know.
Sometimes you just got to take that moment and leap. You have to realize that um, it finally you get to that point where it's like, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
To do this.
I don't know what I have to do. I feel like I'm on some kind of mission. I don't know what it is. I got to do something with myself. I feel like I have a disconnect somewhere. You know what I mean?
What do you, to me, everything is a journey. You
I don't know
know,
where my journey's going. Is my journey ending? Is it going further? I don't know.
have you ever done a uh,
I have a morbid fear of death lately. I'm like, I don't want to die.
have you done a graveyard spread? You should do a graveyard spread. And to me, to me it tells you where you are in the journey. You know, it's not going to say if you're going to die. So don't worry. It's just called a graveyard deck because it uses just the major arcana.
Oh, okay.
And you slip the Fool in, and everything before the Fool is your past.
Okay.
You are the Fool. So
Of course.
everything. Well, no,
No argument there.
we all are the Fool, and that everything after that you then take as your future. And to me, the path never ends.
Well, I'll have to do one of those. I need to find a new reader. I have problems finding people that can read me. I find a lot of these people, oh, you know, and you know, manifest, and what you manifest is what you speak, and blah blah blah, and glitter and glow. I'm like, this is not a card reading. I can do I can read myself better than you, and I'm judgmental on myself. So none of the, you know, yeah, okay, I know I need to manifest and to resonate and to be positive and, you know, go with the flow, and, you know, I know what my battles are, but where am I going? Like, give me some guidance. That's what the cards are for. You know, when I pick up my deck and I say, show me what I need to know, it usually gives me a message on what I got to work on for that day. You know, whether it be communication or, you know, turning away from something or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, don't give me these like cryptic, everybody's like, well, you know, follow your heart,
Now I'm
meditate.
going to tell you,
Don't tell me to freaking meditate. I meditate enough.
I have never told somebody to meditate.
Thank God.
To me, when it comes to a reading, it's
hard though. You got to admit, when you go get a reading done by somebody else, how many times have you been like, you're not even near the mark?
um
And then there's people like, I know people like my friend Mark, all I have to do is walk in a room and he can read what's in my head. Same thing with my friend, you know, with my friend, Papi Oshun, you know what I mean? He like, he's just an incredible reader. He's amazing.
To me, it's, I don't know. To me, it's a.
I doubt myself too much.
discussion.
That's why I don't read cards. 'Cause I always question what I'm getting. My problem is I question everything and I doubt myself. I end up posing myself. And, you know, everybody under the planet says, just go with what your gut says and whatnot.
To me, I live in a world that's talking. I live in a verbal, alive world.
Hmm.
And so, to me, just living is divination.
Hmm.
The one thing that some of my clients get upset with is when I get metaphory. To me, sometimes the best way to explain things is with a metaphor.
Absolutely. Why not?
You know, if I get it, if people can't see what I'm trying to tell them, if I can throw it into another context, then they'll usually understand what it means. And sometimes I think the people who get upset with it are the people who it's hitting home to.
Hmm. I know with my daughter, the big one that I did with her was the ripple effect, how every action has a consequence, good or bad. You know, you do the right thing, you go to college, you get an education, you get a good job, you get a family, you get all these different things in life, whatever it is that you want to do, you get positive rewards. You go out, you rob a bank and you do drugs, you're going to go to jail, you're going to do that. But there's also ripple effects. These choices don't only affect you, they affect your family members, they affect your friends, they affect, you know, your dog, your cat, you know what I mean? They affect everything. Everything you do has it's like throwing a pebble in the water. It hits here, but the ripple effect. So now your wife has to work and there's no one home to take care of the kids and this and that because you're in jail or whatever, you know what I mean? Like all these different, the ripple effects. And that really hit home to her about making better choices in life.
Well, oftentimes I will tell people, I will just say choices, you know, just to,
We are the product of our choices
and even,
and our environment.
and I'm
So
going to,
I'm trying to be, and my next thing that I've been working on, you know, which I did with this new moon, is to let go of relationships that are not serving my highest good, and be with quality people that uplift me and raise me up. You know what I mean? I'm tired of being punished for other people's lack of accountability. You know, they're in a bad mood and I say something and it's my fault that they're not, you know, I'm the bad guy. No, I'm not taking on anybody else's bullshit anymore. You know what I mean? I'm on that, you know, I want to be, you know, it's not my fault that you left me hanging and I got mad. I said, you know, listen, you could have said something, and then you're posting you tell me one thing, you're home sick, and then you're posting pictures at a fire. And meanwhile, you're home sick an hour late, and I was up waiting for you. You know, I have a life. I have time. You know, I don't just sit around, as you know, because you've been trying to do this with me for how long? I'm constantly 90
yeah,
miles an hour. I don't have time, and that's time I could have been sleeping, you know, or doing whatever. And then all of a sudden I'm the bad guy or I'm playing the victim. I'm like, how am I playing the victim? You're the one that set the plans and then didn't show up for them. And because I tell you that's kind of a douchey thing to do, now I'm a jerk.
I don't think so. Choices.
No, I'm not owning it. Absolutely not. Nope.
I think that's where the word choices could come out when somebody's when somebody's being asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Just say to them, choices,
Mm-hmm.
making choices, and not all
Well,
good.
you know,
Not all.
and it's the third time they've done this. And I told them, if you do this again, that's it. There's not going to be any talking about it. I'm just not going to plan anything. And actually, they were the one making the plans. And now I'm not, you know, I'm following through on my end. I'm like, I'm not chasing anymore. And now I'm a bad guy, you know, whatever.
But like they said in Wreck-It Ralph, just because you're a bad guy does not mean you're a bad guy. Sometimes you have to be somebody's bad guy.
Mm, we're all bad in somebody's story, you know.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't mean I have to feed into that, you know, and no.
The only story you need to worry about is your story.
Yeah, you know, and I'm like, you know, yeah. And then, you know, looking back on it, you know, because like I did a lot of reflecting and meditation on it. And I'm looking back, and this person really did not have my interest. They were always like making little jabs at me, looking back, and like, you know, like belittling me in some way or another, like poking fun at me.
And that
So was that person really my friend? No, I don't know. You know, I don't know.
I would say it matters. Are they a New Yorker? If they're a New
No,
Yorker, it's a possibility. But
no.
any other place, because sarcastic people, sometimes you have to question, are you my friend?
I'm
'Cause,
sarcastic too, but I'm not mean,
mm,
you know.
oh yeah,
Like if you said, you know, I really want to get a tattoo of a duck on my arm. I really want this tattoo because it reminds me of a family member, but I can't afford it right now. And tomorrow I'm going out to get a tattoo. And what do I do? Knowing that you're in that predicament, feeling how you are, guess what I'm going to do tomorrow? Guess how long before I get my tattoo? Guess how long before I do this? Like, you know what I mean? Like that, first of all, it's juvenile. And second of all, like, that's just mean. Like, why would you do that? Are you trying to make me feel bad? Like, I don't understand. Like, why are you doing this? Like saying this? Because you know why? I would not do that as a person. So to me, I don't understand. I'm like, what is wrong with you?
see, one of my one of my theories is they get a first time,
Mhm.
okay? Because everybody can mess up a first time. But then what you do is you walk away from it. And I say, that's what turning the other cheek is.
And that's what I did. You know, I didn't get mad. I didn't go on a Facebook tirade. I
But
didn't. I did do one post saying,
it,
you won't talk to me, so I'm putting it here. I'm not. I don't care. I have no ill will. Whatever. I'm just doing my thing.
but if
And
they do it to me, if they do it a second time, do not spoil the rod.
mhm,
You need to tell that person exactly what they are doing wrong, why you're upset,
mhm.
and how they should behave.
And that's what I did on the third time. No, probably more like the fourth or fifth time, actually. And I'm the bad guy. I'm playing victim. I'm like,
It,
no, my time is just as valuable as yours.
and you're just Joanne.
And you're overseas, and I'm here, and I'm staying up late at night waiting on you to talk, to do this thing that you wanted to do. And then you don't show up. And then you lie to me about it. You tell me you're sick or whatever, and then you're posting pictures in front of a fire of yourself. I'm at a fire, enjoying a nice fire outside. And I'm like, who's the idiot here? Me. I'm like,
Fool me
that
once.
was 2 hours I could have used to sleep, to do more schoolwork, to do more research for my case studies, to do whatever. To have a cup of coffee, to talk to my daughter, whatever.
Mhm.
I had people when my daughter left check in on me. I think my old high school crush even texted me and was like, "Oh, your daughter went to school, and how are you doing? How are you, feeling about that?" And people that are busy, and have busy lives, Star, all these different people checking on me. And this person that's supposedly my best friend, even though they were on a road trip or whatever, you can't take 5 minutes and say, "Hey, I know you're going through a tough time. I'm on the road, but I just wanted to check in." Nothing, nada. So again, is that a friend? No.
Mm-mm. I was riddle me this. I was thinking, have you ever tried to make? I was thinking taking a honey jar and putting a spoonful from one jar into another jar and vice versa. And then when you seal it up and put the bells on it, it could almost be you allowing another person to know that you're thinking of them, and vice versa as well. See, this is what I'm talking about. Because to me, especially being an empath, knowing that that person's thinking of you.
Well,
Or you're
as an empath, what I picked up off this person was a vibe that was off for a good month before this happened. I felt something was off. And it all started when I started working with Star and WITCHFEST and all this other stuff, is when this person's panties got in a bunch. And, I don't know why. I don't know, but whatever.
hey, jealousy.
That's
Hey,
what Star
jealousy.
said, but I'm like, I don't see it. What's there to be jealous of? Really? I'm just
That,
Joanne. I'm
but
I'm working. I'm not rich. I'm not sitting on a beach in the Bahamas.
other people are wanting your time when nobody wants your time. That person is the king of your castle.
I see.
But when other people like Hercules, myself, Star, and everybody starts coming in and saying, will you do this for me? Will you do this for me? Will you do this for me? He's now, or she, is really having to say, why aren't you making time for me? And a lot of people don't know how to deal with jealousy. I think the way some people deal with jealousy is a tantrum where they can't tell the difference between sorrow and anger.
Mm,
So they sort of just lash out every way that they possibly can. And that's one of the reasons I think jealousy is um, an unknown feeling, because thing everything starts to be thought of differently, and to me your brain programming even changes a bit.
I'd be like, oh, I took this class with so and so or whatever. Oh, I don't like that person. I don't want to watch it. I don't like them.
I
I'm
don't
like,
want
we've got like 96 classes on WitchCon we still got to watch. Come on. Who do you want to? Nope, I don't want to watch them. I don't like them. And some of these are people that are like, I'm not going to go into names, but I'm like, how can you not like this person? They're like a wonderful person. Like, really?
to me, if you can't find one redeemable thing in a person, something is very wrong with you.
It's because she was no longer the most important person on my time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I know, I don't know. Whatever. I don't know.
But
I don't know. I don't know why this happened. I didn't do or say anything.
to me,
We were supposed to plan a ritual, and I said, oh, I thought we were going to, plan something. And she read it and never responded. So I wrote back. I said, I planned my own. I said, don't worry about it. I got it covered. But that's all I said. I didn't say anything bad. I didn't say anything mean. I didn't say go F yourself. I just meant don't worry about it. I got it covered. And then this whole like weird thing of I'm playing the victim. I'm like, no, I'm just moving on with what I got to do. Just because you're not doing it doesn't mean I'm going to stop.
it and realize that it is okay for the path to diverge. You know, that it's okay that, because very often when you're walking together, the roads will diverge.
That's what I tried to explain to Amanda tonight.
And
Your path diverged from Ian's, and you were on a different journey than his. It
mhm,
wasn't meant for you to save him. You can't save somebody that does not want to be saved.
okay, now I'm going to have to ask, who is Ian?
That's my daughter's friend that I told you earlier had passed away by suicide. And my daughter is blaming herself. She's like, I said, you went to college. You didn't, you were on your own path. You couldn't predict that he was going to do this. I mean, you can't.
Yeah, I know that. Um,
But at 18, she doesn't know that, and she's like,
well,
oh, and I'm not minimalizing your pain. I said, but it's not your fault. It's not your responsibility to fix him.
and it boils down to coulda, shoulda, woulda. You
And
know,
that's a normal part of the grief process, though. If you think about it, when I should have done this, I should have done that. It's a natural part of it. You know what I mean? And it's her first time kind of dealing with it. So, she doesn't know, she's feeling these feelings. And I'm like, this is totally normal to feel that way. I said,
it,
I'm a counselor and I'm thinking, what could I have done to help this kid, And I barely knew him. So, I mean, it's all.
I there have been a lot of shooting stars in my life. People who burn so brightly and then just burn away.
Mhm.
Um, and the thing about it, I got to be there with them during a very happy time.
And that's what I told her. I said, the time he spent with you, he got to try new things. He enjoyed life. You took him camping. You took him to see all kinds of things that he never got to do.
It's a mitzvah, it's a blessing, you know.
Mhm. I said, you probably gave him some really good happiness at one point, but you can't, you're on a different path. Your path wasn't to stay here and fix his problems. Your path was to go on your journey so you could be a healer and help others. To be a nurse. She's, going to school to be a nurse. So,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, your path is different.
you you can't be upset with a shooting star for burning out. You know,
Well, sadly, with the issues that he had a lot of undiagnosed mental illness that had been going on in his life. There was a lot of layers of stuff there that hadn't been worked on because his parents chose to, they didn't want the stigma. So they kind of like sheltered him and homeschooled him and all these different things. And um, he, he didn't have the advantages that my daughter had. And sadly, the risk factors for these outcomes goes up when you add mental illness to the mix. You know what I mean?
and homeschooling.
You need to socialize. I always encouraged my daughter when she first got diagnosed with ASD. I wanted to keep her home and keep her in my safety. And but what good is that going to do for her life?
It's not.
I have to let her spread her wings and see how high she can fly. And look where she is now.
And the thing about it is, people grow up. You can't protect somebody for their entire life.
No. And yeah, there might have been a stigma, autism, whatever, but she got the help she needed to navigate life. She
One of
wasn't, and this is what happens. When Amanda's sad, she knows to reach out. Like she reached out to her friend here. She reached out to me. She reached out to her CA at school. I'm having trouble processing this. She had these skills that, if I kept her at home, would I have been able to do that? No.
I'm going to tell you this. I have a lot of friends that are Aspies,
Mm-hmm.
and have gone fully through college.
Mm-hmm.
Two of them have PhDs. You know, it.
Mm-hmm.
I tried. That's one. Just because you have Asperger's does not mean that you cannot do the same things.
Mm-hmm.
You're
And I've
just
always told that to Amanda. I said, you have Asperger's, but Asperger's doesn't have you.
correct.
I said, and like anything else, you just need to learn how to have coping strategies and healthy ways of dealing with the issues that come with it. And really all it is, there is no issue other than they transmit in their brain, takes different neural pathways than you or I.
Yeah,
Like you and I process a thought, it goes this way, comes in, comes down, comes out. She processes a thought, it goes to the left, goes around, comes out,
yeah.
and that's all it is, different neural pathways. It's not a mental illness, it's a neurological thing.
It's neurodivergent, isn't that?
Mm-hmm.
And
Neurodivergence, and that's what it is. It's taking a divergent path around your head. Sometimes mental illness can go with it. If it, again, the earlier you intervene on these things, the less chances you have of these things manifesting. And I started with my daughter when she was like 2 years old, and I never sheltered her. I threw her right into the mix. She went to school, right? She was going to school when she was 2.
oh, my mom was heavy into socializing us, and I remember we went everywhere with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
We went to board meetings. Um, we went to parties that she went to. Of course, it was the 80s and you did that stuff. We also were allowed to go home by ourselves with a key. Most parents don't do that anymore.
No. But I always encourage my daughter to try it. I've always told her, you can do whatever you put your mind to. I never told her, you have ASD, you're different, you can't be out in the world, it's a stigma. I never told her that. No.
I'm gonna tell you, I have seen I have seen people with Asperger's in theater. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen them do technical jobs. I have seen them do one of one of them's a biochemist.
I believe it.
You
They
know,
all have their strengths, and
it don't to me, don't assume. Even if you're trying to be good with somebody, do not take my kindness for naivety.
Yeah. Well, a wise man told me once, when I started on this journey with my, my daughter and getting my undergrad in special education was, you meet one kid that's neurodivergent with autism, you've met one kid that has autism. They're all very unique and they're all very different.
Oh
There's
yeah.
no two cases that are the same, which is another reason that makes it so hard. It's not like with schizophrenia, you have a set of symptoms and symptomology and things that present. With, ASD, it could be any number of different things. You could have social anxiety, you could have no anxiety at all, you could have OCD, you can have oppositional defiance. There's other things that go with it.
And I'm gonna be honest, I know that like I have some issues like with textures and
Me too. I
taste
don't
and
like anything on my head.
um I can't deal with flannel.
Mm.
And I'm gonna be honest, for a root worker, that because using red flannel is very big in root work.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah. And I'm like,
I
so
don't like the feel of satin sheets.
oh I
I only
do.
like real cotton. I hate itchy sweaters. I'm big on texture. And I don't like anything on my head and I don't like anything on my feet if I can help it. If I had my way, I'd be barefoot all the time.
I don't like anything on my wrists. I don't like anything on my feet, but now things have to be on my feet. But I'm gonna tell you, I have a certain pair of socks. They don't fit me at all, but I like how they feel. So I wear them when I'm home. Like they are falling off right now, but I they're like cotton. We have a pair of cotton sheets and I love it.
Yeah, I love cotton. I used to love the when Ralph Lauren used to have the bedding. They used to do bedding. I used to love it. He had the best sheets.
Say it again.
Ralph Lauren. He used to have the best sheets. I'd go to the outlet and now that he doesn't do the sheets anymore, I'm like, darn.
I
What?
love you because people down here say it's Ralph Lauren.
Yeah.
I have never only I thought I was the only duckling who said Ralph Lauren.
No.
But that's how I learned it. See, people from the Northeast, smart people.
I don't know. We're just people. But
People who need people.
I mean, if you came
Oh,
to where I live, you'd swear you fell
people.
back into 1992, the mentality up here sometimes. But
You go,
hence why there's a lot of kids up here that are suffering, and and the people up here are stubborn. And if you're new to the area, they don't like you, they don't want to work with you. It's hard.
to me, that's where magic plays in. It to me, if you do not like the situation you're in, use the energy to change the situation.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I changed my degree from education to psychology because I can take a more direct route to work with the kids. I don't have to go through the school system. With my license to practice, I can, you know, talk to them one on one, and I don't have to worry about, you know, a lot of the kids I deal with are old, are at the point that they're too old to go into the system, and all they want to do is learn how to get out of it and how to improve their life. And if I can help one or two do that, that's great. Um, it can be done.
It can be. Um, it's just how quickly you can, what kind of shepherd you are. You know, is this
I don't know. The kids tend to gravitate to me naturally. Um, so that's not the issue. The issue is having the means to provide the services they need. Like I need to manifest an office or some type of, I don't know, center for these kids to come to where they can get what they need for their education, for housing, to break free from, you know, the cycle of welfare and all these things, you
Are you
know.
opening it?
I would love to open it, you know, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
To me, do not put something, if it's something you want, you know, and it's something you need, you have every right to claim it. With you claiming it, then your mind will automatically be like, of
Mhm.
course I need this.
Yeah.
You know, I think with one thing with manifestation is that people will want something, but be too hesitant to ask for it.
Mhm.
If you think something belongs to you and is yours, then claim it. You know, you can't totally want it and ever get it because you're just putting the energy for wanting it.
Mhm.
You have to put the energy for I have it.
I see what you're saying. Wayne Dyer used to say something similar. Think from the end result. He's like, when I write a book, he's like, I already know the ending page.
I never do. That's probably why I haven't finished a book.
Could be.
I need to I've been thinking to myself, I need a taskmaster.
Mhm.
I do so well in the college atmosphere where I have deadlines,
Mhm.
but I have never found somebody who can keep me to a deadline. So
Well, you need to manifest yourself a personal assistant.
I need a personal assistant, so I should have a
To
personal
keep you
assistant.
structured. But we're hitting like 4 a.m., so I should probably go.
So be kind to one another, love one another, reach out to one another, and like Grandpa Sackwitz always used to say, don't be an asshole.
Peace, love, and groovy. That's what I like to say.
Have a great time. Thank you very much.
Bye.